What is going on, Trash Talkers? We are back with another episode for you. Today we are going to break down the first UFC Fight Night of 2021. That's right, we are back in full force with the UFC, starting off with Saturday night's Fight Night, then we move over to Wednesday's Fight Night, and then we have UFC 257 just a week from now. We're going to jump right into the Kattar Holloway Fight Night for this Saturday. We're going to give you our breakdown, our predictions, all that and much more coming your way right now. All right, Nick, we are back with the UFC.
Ooh.
We are in full force. Listen, the UFC was fully, I was in it. And, for those of you who have watched our show over the last year and a half or so, you understand that Nick is the UFC guy here and I kind of take a back seat. But I got to tell you, I've been doing really well with UFC. I've been really vibing with it, and I'm really excited for this fight night. I love Max Holloway. I love Calvin Kattar, and for them to be highlighting a fight night is actually incredible to me.
Yeah, the UFC is coming back, and they're coming back with vengeance. I mean, they want you to know that they are back. They don't want you to sit back and watch other things. There might be football on. There might be basketball on. But who cares? We've got one of the best fight nights you could ever ask for. This fight night could be charged $65 because this is worthy of being a pay-per-view on its own. This fight night is amazing. There are some great fights here, but we're here for one fight only, and that's Calvin Kattar versus Max Holloway. The fight. This is going to be one of the best featherweight fights out there, bar none. I think that these two are underrated. Max Holloway coming off of 2 losses. People think that he's down, he's out. He's not good enough for Volkanovski. And I know some people think, hey, he might have won those fights, but he's got to earn his way back at this point. We don't even know if Dana will give him a shot if he wins this fight. He says no one gets a third shot. So let's see what happens. But Calvin Kattar, he's on the rise. He tore up 2020. He's back at it again, and he's taking on the #1 contender, Max Holloway. Calvin Kattar absolutely destroying the competition in the UFC, and he proved it last time against Dan Ige, going 5 full rounds against the man and getting the unanimous decision. He absolutely deserved to win that fight, and he absolutely deserves to be in this spot. But when we get down to exactly what needs to be done, Calvin Kattar, this might be a little too much for him. I believe that this might be a little bit of a reach for him fighting Max Holloway right now. He's right now ranked at the 6th featherweight in the world, and that's a great spot. But there's other guys, Zabit, who he's lost to before, Korean Zombie, who is looking to win again after facing Brian Ortega, who needs another fight before he gets a title shot. These guys who are ranked lower than Max Holloway and still aren't fighting for the title, that are better equipped to fight Calvin Kattar than Max Holloway.
Well, I got a question for you. So do you think that, Dana White's putting this fight together to kind of move Max Holloway out of the #1 contender spot? Because you already said it. I mean, Dana White has already said that we're not going to get another third fight with Holloway and
Volkanovski. Yeah, no, it's most likely not going to happen. I mean, Dana White is very against doing a fight 3 times against one opponent.
Right. Unless you split the first 2.
Unless you split the first 2, and even then, Dana's a little hesitant. He just doesn't like the idea. He thinks it's a much harder sell to the general public. And I get that. I understand that as a promoter. But this fight, it's going to do really good things for the winner and really bad things for the loser. Calvin Kattar is either going to show up and destroy Max Holloway, and he's going to prove why he deserves to be the next contender for the title. But what does that do for Max Holloway? He now has 3 losses in a row. He now drops down in the rankings. You're now going to make him fight guys in the middle of the pack, and he's going to have to earn his way back. Max Holloway was at the top of the featherweight division for such a long time. This guy is regarded as one of the best to ever do it in the featherweight division, and he is now put in a spot where he has to win. Otherwise, he's going to be looking at another 2 years before he gets another title shot. He'll have to work his way back, and that's not a good spot to be in. But if Max wins, he makes that argument why he should face Alexander Volkanovski a third time. But then Calvin Kattar proves like he should not be the number 6th ranked featherweight in the world. Calvin Kattar is going to have to step back and then reevaluate and earn his way back up into the number 6 or even higher, which is going to take another 2 years or so. So this is it's a huge step back for whoever loses this fight.
Let me take a step back here. Talking about Max Holloway losing this fight, I mean, if he loses this fight, I think you have to think of him in regards as the Cowboy Cerrone of the featherweight division, where he's going to be the gatekeeper that people have to go through, but he will never get a title shot again.
No,
I mean, 3 losses in a row is one of those things that you may not be able to come back from.
There's plenty of people who have come back from 3 losses in a row, and I think that Max Holloway would be perfectly fine in the end, but Max Holloway's far and away better than Cowboy Cerrone ever was. Donald Cerrone never was the champion. He never had a title reign like Max Holloway did, who absolutely dominated that division. They're just on such different levels, and Max Holloway is still in his 20s. He's not that old. He's just been through so many wars in his career and been doing this for such a long time at this point. We think he's a really old guy. I'd compare him more to Jose Aldo, who was a former champ for a really long time and we're earning his way back. And guess what? Jose's doing pretty damn well for himself right now. So I think that Max Holloway, even if he were to lose this fight, it may be a long rebuild, but he'll get back there. He is a champion. He's been there. He knows how to be a champion, and he'll get there once again. But this is just a bad spot for whoever loses this fight. But when we get into it, I don't think that Calvin Kattar has what it takes to beat Max Holloway. Max Holloway is going to be working the legs of Calvin Kattar. He's going to be working his jab. He's not going to let Calvin Kattar get too close to him. They're both strikers. They're both going to be up on their feet this entire fight. It should never go to the ground. I'd be very surprised to see that happen. Calvin Kattar is a very eager fighter. He is looking for a brawl. That's what he does. He is part of the New England cartel. He's always looking to get into your face. And I think that Max Holloway is going to try to keep him at a distance. He's going to work his counter punches. He's going to wait for Calvin Kattar to overreach, try to go for those knockout punches, and then that's when he's going to pounce on him. Max Holloway, he knows how to fight against these top-ranked opponents. And so he has that veteran experience. But I think that Calvin is going to be eager also to not want this to go to a decision, as does Max Holloway not want this to go to a decision, as he's seen the result in his last 2 fights. I think that Max Holloway and his veteran experience is really just going to play a massive factor in this. Calvin Kattar is going to be trying to get that knockout punch, and I think Max Holloway is going to sit back and wait for his punches to come to him.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on this. I took a close look at both Kattar and Holloway, and it just seems to me that Cater's a little too far from what Max Holloway is at this point in his career. I think Calvin Kattar should have had another fight before he got to fight Max Holloway. I think he should have had to prove himself before he has to take on the title of possible number 1 contender. Going from 6-1 is incredibly high standards, passing over 4 other people. That's
yeah,
really
especially when you lost to Zabit, who's ranked number 3 right now in the division. So you're going to overstep a guy you lost to a couple years ago. It just doesn't make sense. That's why I wish Dana had given Calvin another fight before Max Holloway. But nonetheless, this is still a great fight. And no matter what, this is going to set up the winner for a huge title opportunity moving forward.
For sure. So just to get our viewers prepared, we both have Max Holloway winning this fight.
Yeah, absolutely. I expect that this fight, it's going to go close to the distance. I don't expect this to be an early finish, but I expect Max Holloway to just wear down Calvin Kattar, let him exhaust himself early on, and then he's going to wait in the championship rounds, and then that's when he's going to take advantage of a tired Calvin Kattar who's throwing haymakers just to try to get the finish before it goes to decision.
For sure. So, with that being said, if I had to put money on it, where would you like me to say? Is this going to end in a knockout? Will this be a decision? Where do you see this ending for these fighters?
I really don't see this one going to to a decision. I really believe these two fighters always look for a finish, especially now. And you might not say Max Holloway does, but right now you got to look at Volkanovski fight 1 and 2. It was close decision and then closer decision. And I believe Max Holloway does not want the judges to have any bearing on the decision of this fight. He is going to want to get that finish, and he's going to wait for it, but it'll come to him because Calvin Kattar is always pushing and he's always trying to get that knockout finish. So I expect Max Holloway to end this fight with a knockout.
Wow, you guys heard it here first, that's for sure. I mean, this is going to be one slobber knocker of an absolute fight, and it's the first fight or the first main event of the UFC year in 2021. I absolutely can't wait for it. Nick, why don't you end it by letting everybody know where they can see this and what time it's going to be on?
Yeah, actually, this fight is the first nationally televised fight in almost 20 years, and it'll be on ABC Network. You can find it there. You can always find it on ESPN Plus as usual. It's free to watch for everybody, and this is the fight. This is the fight to go tell all your friends that are on the fence about watching UFC, hey, watch this main event. If you don't like that, then fine. UFC is not for you. MMA is not for you. But this is the fight that'll get them hooked on the sport. This is exactly what they need to push them over the edge and get them absolutely into everything MMA.
For sure. All right, and what time is that going to be taking place?
Yeah, so remember, this fight is on Yas Island. They are in the UAE. So we get to watch this a little bit earlier in the day. It won't be a night watch for us. So this main card starts around 3 o'clock. You'll probably see this main card start about 4 o'clock, 4:15. Eastern
Standard Time. You got it. All right. Well, I appreciate all that. Thank you guys for listening. We are going to be watching all day on Saturday. We have the UFC Fight Night event. We have 2 NFL playoff games. We're fully booked for Saturday. We absolutely can't wait. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel. Any comment on here could be featured in an upcoming video, so make sure that you are commenting and liking the video. And with that being said, we will head off for now. Take care, peace and love.